Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing something slightly different. It's more or less a review. It's a first impressions triplet, which is a new type of video that I want to make on the channel, basically because I don't think dedicating a full video slot of my time to a first impressions is a good use of my time. So what I'm going to do is do them in groups of 2 or 3, mostly 3. And the point here is that I'll be able to make content for when I only buy single volumes. Now, if you guys remember my video on my wish list and collection goals, I do not want to buy single volumes anymore, but I know that I will anyways at some point. So I want to have the ability to make videos on those single volumes. That's what first impression triplets are. Basically, I'll just give you basic information about the book, the premise, and a talking point or two. And hopefully this will all be in less than 5 minutes. I'll also provide you a chapters list in the description, which also ends up showing up as the progress bar of the video. So you can skip to the section you like. So feel free to move on from this if you don't want to watch it. So today we are going to cover 3 books, and the kind of tying in here is that these are all action series and they're all fantasy. So the first title that we're going to look at is Radiant. Now, Radiant is written by Tony Vellante, which is a French mangaka, and it's published by Viz, as you guys can see down there. It's obviously not a Shonen Jump title. And the demographic here is shonen. The genres are adventure and fantasy, and this has an anime adaptation. I have no clue if it's any good, but it's there if you want to watch it. Now, the premise of this story is that basically there's this world infested by monsters, and only those that survive an initial encounter with said monsters can harness the power to beat them, and they must go on a journey, and then this main character here must go on a journey to find the place where these monsters come from in order to defeat them once and for all, more or less. So it's a very epic fantasy Western style story, but made with manga, which I think is really cool. That kind of blending of styles is very interesting, and the art is cool. So the talking point really is that it's a French manga. That's very cool. A lot of European countries have actually started doing this in the last couple of years. I think the US has done it too, to an extent, but not the way that France or Spain have done it. So it's interesting. The coolest writing aspect here was the world building. It's very interesting. I had a bit of an issue with the way that it was written because I didn't know that Nemesis was spelled differently when it was plural. And so I thought it was a bunch of writing mistakes, but it's not. Nemesis for singular is spelled with an I at the end, like Nemesis. And when it's plural, it's Nemeses. So I kept thinking that that second spelling was a mistake, and I really was like annoyed with it. Because I was like, how the heck did they make so many mistakes? But then I looked it up because I was like, maybe the problem is me, right? So I checked it out, and it is a plural version of Nemesis. Now, the world building besides that is very interesting. The monsters are these things called Nemesis, or Nemesi, I guess, Nemesis. And they infect people, they attack people, and if a normal person gets touched by them, they completely, immediately die. But certain people that manage to survive the disease that ravages their body when they're touched by these nemesises, basically get corrupted and turn into wizards. Now, these people are able to harness some sort of magic. It has a specific title, but I can't remember what the title is. And I'm trying to find it here, but I can't see it. I guess it's just magic. And it's very special, and it takes a very specific set of gear and tools, but our main character manages to use it without any of them, and it's kind of like heretical to an extent. but he still manages to make it work, and he wants to go on a journey to kind of figure out this mythical origin of these monsters called Radiant, and that's where the title comes from. And overall, very, very interesting. I'm very excited to read more of it. I don't know when I'll pick up more of it, but it is on the list of things to pick up. Probably in 6 months, after June, when I'm done with my whole like sci-fi shoujo kick, I'll go back to fantasy and get this. But I don't know. So yeah, that was basically it for that. I hope you guys enjoyed that little snippet or first impression. Let's move on to the second one. Now this one I read digitally on Bookwalker, and it's Gleipnir. This is written by Sun Takeda, who I don't know if he's done anything else. I don't know anything about him. But his name sounds familiar, and I don't know why. It's published by Kodansha, and the demographic is seinen. The genres here are action, horror, and supernatural thriller. And this does have an anime adaptation, which actually is kind of what first got me interested in the manga. I think it was either that or a Dubs Not Subs video. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was around the same time, actually. But yeah, the premise here is that this guy essentially turned into a monster, and the monster is shaped like a fursuit or something like that, like from furries or like mascot suits from like sports teams. And there's this crazy female character, this crazy girl, that gets together with him after she saves him from like suicide to try to find her sister and figure out what the hell's happening to them. And it's very confusing, but it's very interesting. And I'm really looking forward to reading more of it. The talking point for this really is that the crazy plot line is very interesting. And at the end of the first volume, there was this reveal of the mystery that was very, very interesting. It didn't actually solve any problems, but it kind of like gave you a little bit of a tidbit of information that kind of like blows your mind, and you're like, holy crap, what the heck? This is so exciting. And yeah, I want to pick up another volume for sure. The other thing is the art is really, really good. I don't know that there's anything that I can compare it to. But it has a very kind of like fluid feel to it, if that makes sense. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but it just kind of like feels like stuff is weighted down, and that you can feel like the way the characters move, if that makes sense. I don't know. The way he draws female characters is also very, very nice. I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot of like erotic scenes that, maybe are not for teenagers, but it's very, very good. I really recommend this title, and I can't wait to pick up more. Again, I'm not sure when I'll pick up more. I thought this was a sci-fi originally, and so I was really excited to pick up some in this first month, but since it's not sci-fi, I probably won't pick it up until July or later. So yeah. Now, the last title that I want to make first impressions on today is Berserk. Now, I read this last night as of recording this video, which should be about a week ago for you guys watching it. And yeah, so the title is Berserk. Obviously, it's written by Kentaro Miura. This is published by Dark Horse, as you guys can see right there. This edition is newer, I think. The older one is the DMP spines, which are the ones that Prom G has. And the demographic is seinen. Now, the genres here are dark fantasy, epic fantasy, and sword and sorcery, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of swords and sorcery and like pulp fiction from back in the day. Dark fantasy is always interesting, and epic fantasy is my jam. Now, it does have an adaptation. I think it has an anime and 2 movies, if I remember correctly, and apparently they're all Garbos, so I'm not really sure if that's true or not. Now, the premise here is that, well, actually, I have no freaking clue what the actual premise of the story is, so I'll try to tell you as best as I can. So as far as I can tell, it's basically about this guy, him, whose name is Guts, going on a journey to get revenge for something that happened to him. It's very dark and very brutal, and so far he just looks like a mercenary, very reminiscent of the Witcher short stories, the ones in the stuff in Last Wish. He's just going to places, he's traveling on his own, he gets caught up in a lot of different battles by accident, basically, and he's happy to engage in them because all of the battles that he's having are with these kind of like either evil people or demons, and it's helping him get what he wants, so he's okay with it. And I don't know, it's just interesting. Now, the talking point, I guess, is really the art. There's some scenes that look gorgeous, and the art style is very grungy. It's very like, I don't know, in like 80s fantasy, if that makes sense. Like even in Western comics, I think it looks very similar. Or like old Pulp Fiction covers. And it's very like dark and gritty, and there's a lot of detail, but the proportions of the characters are really weird, and the way that, you know, they're drawn doesn't feel like they're human. Like, I'm talking about the human characters. It doesn't really feel like they're human. It just kind of like, here's a drawing of something that looks vaguely like a person, but there's still a lot of like feeling and texture to the drawing. It's very interesting. However, the monsters that he draws look really, really good. I really like how they look. Probably the best one that I saw was the one I put on Instagram a couple days ago, I guess, for you guys, which is the snake. Let me see if I can find it. This one? Like, dude, that looks so awesome. What the heck? It's just so cool. But yeah, now the brutality of this story is like hardcore, like really, really messed up. This is definitely an adult title. I mean, it even has a sticker that says parental advisory, explicit content. And yeah, it's really, really good. I really enjoy this. I am definitely going to pick up the deluxe editions, and I'll probably end up selling this version off. One, to get money for the collection, to fund my further collecting of other things, and two, because I don't want to double dip that much. There are some series that I will double dip for, but so far Berserk is not one of them, so you know, that's that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That's all I have for you guys. It was actually a little shorter than I expected, and I think that's good. It's fine. I really don't need to talk for exactly 5 minutes about each book, and hopefully I'll be able to iron out the details of this type of video by the time February rolls around, because by that point I do want to have a lot of first impression triplets over all the shoujo that I'm going to start reading. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments or any way to make the video better, please let me know in the comments down below. And thank you guys very much. Let me know what you thought about each of these series if you've read them, and let me know, you know, what other series there are like them. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.